to the cloud. Okay.
Oh,
So let me first of all thank you so much for signing up to be a mentor. You have no idea how important this program is to me. And I want to start by asking you to describe a mentor that you've had in the past. What were some of the characteristics of that person? It can be any type of mentor. How about Danielle first?
Sorry, I don't know if you said my name there. It froze for a second. Okay. Let me see, a mentor. I think that my grad school supervisor has been my biggest mentor. So some of the characteristics of him, he is in a lot of ways very opposite of me, but we have a lot of overlapping traits. So I think we sort of balanced each other out very well. But he's definitely someone who can sort of see further ahead than I could at the time, and was sort of able to point me in the right direction and say, here are the skills you're going to need, here are the people that you're going to want to know, and sort of helped me navigate the right path rather than trying a whole bunch of different paths and hoping that I got somewhere in the end.
That is such a good point, because there are many roads that you can take to get anywhere, right? Each road has its own obstacles, and surmounting those obstacles is fantastic. But having that person that's right there, that's not going to tell you what to do and how to do it, but that will just kind of guide you and say, well, have you ever thought about this direction? Or have you thought about this? So yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Danielle. And Mao, am I saying it right? Is it Mao? Oh, wait, you're on mute. I unmuted you. There you go.
okay. Meow. It's
Meow.
like cat. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
Nicer than Mao. Okay. A mentor, like I do the data carpentry, and also in a college all the way along, there's a lot of mentors, but I appreciate the quality of a good mentor from three aspects. First, like the way they speak, the tone, and make you feel like comfortable. It's like sometimes when you have some obstacle in learning, it's really frustration. So they can calm you down and then have a fresh start. So it can deliver the knowledge. And also the knowledge is really knowledgeable. It's capable if you have any questions. And as our Danley, how to say her name? She mentioned like can predict like if what kind of direction you want to go and where you have the problems. That is also good quality. Also the manner, the way the teaching is the whole class is atmosphere is really good, nice. Sometimes it's teaching you knowledge, but pump up some jokes and hilarious movement. It's nice, a really wonderful experience. And for the data carpentry perspective, like Francois, he really knowledgeable about teaching R, and I really like doing the live coding, like what he does.
I definitely agree with you. I really like your sentiment about being able to predict where the problems are.
Yeah.
And that comes from a lot, well, thinking about your training, thinking about your instructor training, right? That's the difference between a competent practitioner and an expert, you know, or even a novice and an expert. The novice won't know where the problems will come because they don't have a good grasp or a good working mental model, but that expert has probably had that problem before many, many times, and they can tell you, they can kind of predict it might not work out like that. However, when you're a mentor though, my husband was bringing me breakfast. Isn't he awesome? Thank you. But that expert though, how do you find that balance between guiding and helping your mentees predict those problems, and then kind of letting them letting them fail, for lack of a better word, and learn from that mistake. Maybe David can talk to us about that. Hi, David.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. Good to have you back.
Good to see you, Danielle, Carrie. How's it going? Meow, nice to meet you as well.
So can you talk to us about that fine line between guiding and letting your mentee kind of stumble and learn from that mistake?
Yeah, I mean, so I've, just like a lot of you, have had the opportunity to teach and work with a lot of students, and I'm always learning and growing with each student. Today I do a lot also with General Assembly and Springboard, so I've seen every type of student and still learning. I think it's important when you engage in a relationship to get a sense on what their working style is and their learning style is, and really to set like foundation for expectations. You know, is it okay for me to hold you accountable? Is it okay for me to call you out when you fail in something? Or would you prefer on feedback, you know, what that style is? And then that really helps, because then when you get to those difficult conversations, you've already set the ground. I've had some relationships with students where I didn't have that. And then later on when they slacked, my feedback, even as nice and generous as I offered it, it comes off very constructive, and unfortunately often ends in a disengagement of a relationship, just because you know, usually puts people in like an emotionally regressive place where they feel back to when they had a teaching environment of, you know, you're not good enough or not wanted, or whatever that looks like. So I think if you can set those ground rules, I know even when I taught with Danielle and when I teach workshops, we always set ground rules. It's a safe space. Don't take anything personal. It's all feedback on learning and teaching. And I think the same goes for mentorship. And it's when you work with a student to understand, you know, what do they want out of the relationship, and really to listen. So that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think, especially in the Carpentries community, I just said it, community. It's about community. We don't train people to go out and be individuals. You know, we want to have self-confidence in the skills that you're learning in our workshops, and to feel empowered to learn more, but also to join a community or be a part of something bigger than just, you know, I can sit here and create a program by myself, to collaborate with other people, to grow, to hopefully become a mentor and mentor someone else. So these are all things that I'm happy that we're all on the same page about. So with that being said, I want to give those who, I believe both, Danielle, were you a mentee last time, or were you?
No, I attended the showcase because I was interested in the program, but I wasn't really sure what it was about. Yeah.
I remember now. I was like, I feel like I know you already. Okay, so I want to give those who, and Meow, this is your first time as a mentor, I remember. Awesome. So David is our returner.
I love mentoring so much that now I'm actually on like the mentoring. I think I'm like the mentoring secretary, or like helping out with some meeting notes. So continuing to get involved. Is it me, or did Carrie's screen lock up?
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure if it was my internet, so, but I'll speak while she gets reconnected. Yeah, no, I did the mentoring last cycle, and mentored, I think, 3 students, which dropped to 2 students, and it was great because they all had different goals. You know, one student, Blake, he's at the School of Mines in Colorado, and he went through instructor training, and he wanted to self-host a workshop, and, you know, I just guided him as he connected different engineering departments at Colorado State. And, you know, before he knew it, in a couple months, he hosted his own workshop, and I was just giving him advice based on now teaching a few workshops. The other student, actually, Esther Jackson in New York, when I taught at New York Academy of Sciences a couple of years ago, she was one of my students. So that was so funny at, I think it was the Python software carpentry bootcamp. And so she wanted to get more involved. So I mentored her, and now she's assisted me at Rutgers, NYU, and NYAS. So she's done 3 assistings in the last year, and she's in the next batch of instructor training. So she's going to go through an instructor path and then, go from there. So, when you mentor, you're going to get students of all different calibers, some who've been through the instructor program, some who haven't, some who want to host workshops, some who are getting ready to host. So, but yeah, what I really did for both of them is I was, getting a sense on what they needed, what their goals were. And I'm sure when Carrie gets back on, there's many ways you can mentor. It could be, hey, let's practice teaching the lessons, or hey, let's work on curriculum, or oh, let's talk on teaching styles, or okay, cool. Carrie, you could just jump back in. I was just sharing my experience.
No, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. I don't know why my internet failed, but yes, keep going.
It's recorded, so it's good. I was just sharing from the 2 students I worked with in the last cycle, and all that different experience. So that's all.
So with that, I want to talk about goal setting, but before I do, I want to hear from our new mentors. What prompted you to sign up to become a mentor? And what are you looking, because it's great to give, don't get me wrong, but we have to get something from this too, right? Other than it felt good to be a mentor. There's something that you should be getting back. And I want to make sure that the mentors, you get something out of the experience as well. So what are you looking forward to as being a mentor? How about Meow first?
Yeah, I mute myself. So I have taught software carpentry as an instructor 3 times, and I'm a certified instructor. That's the one part. Is I talked to Matt Colleen. I want to more expand our software carpentry back in China. If I go back, can I organize a workshop, let more people who suffering coding their daily data, they want to handle the data. So in that case, I want to independently know how to organize a workshop, not from instructor perspective. I also as an organizer, how follow our system. So that's part I want to take in. So see how everybody doing this, what's the drill, and experience. Do they have any tips about that? Yeah, that's my more main motivation.
Awesome. What about you, Dave?
I think for me, there's sort of 2 parts to it. The first is just the networking aspect of it. I love meeting new people from new places. And I think particularly where I'm located now, it's very isolated. And so to have another opportunity to sort of meet other people who are like-minded and want to do the same things is always a benefit. And then secondly, the sort of career path that I'm going down at the moment, at least, is toward, being in academia and teaching. And so through the Carpentries, I've had really great opportunities to learn more about teaching and how to, run a classroom. But I really want to also have more experience with sort of the one-on-one mentoring. So if I had, if I was leading a lab in the future and working with, my students, that I would be able to have some experience with how to actually do that.
Absolutely. So it is my hope that all of your goals are accomplished and I'm confident that you all are going to be equipped to help everyone. I'm hopeful that everyone will participate, because we have had some issues in the past where mentees sign up, but then they don't respond to emails and things like that. So I want to make it clear, if you run into those types of issues where you've reached out to your mentees and maybe they aren't being responsive or not, please make sure you communicate that information to me, and I will reach out to them as well. But I want you to know that you don't need to spend a lot of energy trying to pull people into the group. So say you have 5 members in your group and there are 2 that just are not participating. I want you to focus on those 3 who are there, who want to participate. We never know what's going on in people's lives. And so give it your best shot, reach out a couple times, but if you don't hear back from those mentees, let me know and I will reach out to them, but continue working with those who are, clearly investing the time, because I kind of stalked y'all a little bit. You all are very busy, okay? So I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your time, sending tons of emails to people and they're not responding to you. So I just want to make sure that was clear before we got into anything else. Okay, so let's talk about, I put a lot of links in the Etherpad and I just want to go through them all to make sure we all are aware of what's going on. Let's start with on line 15. There's a link to some important dates. Okay. So the process for closing the mentoring groups was technically March 30th. All of the mentees should have signed up. But we noticed that we didn't have any mentors for the Australia time zone, and a couple other time zones. And so we are keeping the applications on a rolling basis. We will not put more than 5 in a group. And I think most of your groups already have 5 or 4 in them. So this won't apply to you, but for the other mentors, for the purposes of this recording, if you don't have anyone in your group now, there will be more added. Even this morning, someone signed up this morning and I had to add them to a group. So in terms of upcoming deadlines, just mark your calendars for June 11th. We'll do a little check-in. It'll probably be no more than 20 minutes. Just a time for you to drop in and talk with the other mentors about how things are going, share some resources, bring up any issues that you're having. So that'll be June 11th. And then how many of you are going to Carpentry Con? Is anyone going to Carpentry Con? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to do a mentor meetup at Carpentry Con. So you'll get more information about that. And then lastly, we're going to have our virtual showcase similar to the previous one we had. That will be August 13th. So far in advance, but just get it on your calendar now so that you have it written down. Questions about these dates? And also on this page, if you're welcome to invite people to participate in the mentoring program as well. So share this page. It has the applications it has links to the applications there. Feel free to share this page if you have workshops coming up or if you want to tweet it, however you share information. What questions do you have about the important dates? No questions. All right.
On a separate note, Carpentry Con, my schedule's always all over the place. So Danielle, I'll probably sync up with you more, but trying to see if I can get out to Europe depending on my schedule.
I hope you can make it. It will be so nice to have you there.
Thanks.
Okay. So on line 16, this is something new, the mentor agreement. It's not something that you need to sign your life away. It's just expectations for the mentors. And it basically says what you've already agreed to as an instructor. Follow the code of conduct, of course. Provide that welcoming and supporting environment that you all have talked about. You all talked about that when you talked about what a mentor, your favorite mentors, and what type of environment they created. And try your best to avoid that dismissive language that we learned about in your instructor training. Just thinking about your expert blind spot, things like that. And then we hope that you'll stay active in at least one of our communication channels. So whether it's our Twitter or the Slack channel, discuss whatever way you like to receive communication the most. And the reason we ask that is because sometimes your mentees have no idea that we have a Slack channel or we have a Facebook page. I need to join our Facebook page. That just reminds me. I don't like Facebook. But I'm going to work on joining our page just for that.
Well, Carrie, that's a popular comment in the last few weeks now.
Yeah, I wonder why. Yes, so stay active on one of these. You don't have to join everything and all the communication. I do recommend that you subscribe to the newsletter though, because there's a lot of good information. So if you haven't, I can give you the link to that. Questions about the mentor agreement. So this isn't anything new. We just wanted to have it all written down somewhere. All right. We are just rolling through these links. Okay. So the next one is the program outline. So that's on line 17. And this is an example that we created. So your mentees, one of the things that I changed in the application, I made it much more succinct. So they shared with us the tool that they're most interested in, or the tool that they use. Tools, most people use multiple tools, and then what they're interested in. They were only allowed to choose from organizing workshops, community building, teaching, and lesson maintenance. Just 4 things. In the previous round, there was like a lot of stuff they could choose from. And so we were trying to make it a little bit easier for the mentors to be able to help them focus. So they were allowed to choose from lesson maintenance, teaching workshops, organizing workshops, and community building. And so what I've done on this page is a sample outline for each of those topics with some things that you could talk about in your meetings. So look at this when you have a chance on your own time. For example, if you are running a mentoring group about organizing workshops, you could look at existing resources and talk about some of the challenges for organizing workshops. You could draft some marketing material. A lot of times we get questions in the instructor discussion session. How do I let people know that my workshop is happening? So you could talk about some marketing issues, talk about partnering with other organizations, especially if it's, on campus or something like that. Each of the topics includes a few bullets with what you can do in a mentoring session. So I won't have, on your own time, go through, and if you have any questions, feel free to just shoot me an email, or if you need more resources, just let me know. Questions about the outlines? All righty.
Oh, sorry, I have one question.
Oh, yes.
So will our groups have sort of one of these things identified clearly, where it's like, all right, we are a community building group, or will there be still probably like a mix of a couple things?
What I've noticed is that it'll probably be a mix, but no more than 2 things. And that's just because of how the time zones worked out. We only have, for example, we have 3 groups, and I'm going to show you the link to the Etherpad with all the groups, but I didn't want to put one person who wanted to talk about organizing workshops in a group by themselves. So there might be a mix, but what will happen is during that first meeting, if you could work on that goal setting, and that'll help. If you work on goal setting, you should be able to still navigate each of them, even if it's 2 different topics. I didn't see your t-shirt, David. Tennis Legends. Oh, yeah. In March. That is so cool. Awesome. Okay. So on to goal setting. So that's line number 18. And so this is a document that I shared during the last round of mentoring groups that I heard was really helpful. So hopefully it'll help again. And it's just about setting SMART goals. One of the issues with mentoring in general is that sometimes groups don't have a target deadline, and then a target, what is the product that we want to create? Or what is the thing that I want to be able to do? So we have from now until August something. That's when the showcase is. That's plenty of time. And of course, there's going to be some holidays and things like that. That's why we kind of stretched it. That's plenty of time to get very specific goals accomplished. Whether it is, I want to submit 17 pull requests on the R lesson, or I want to co-teach my first workshop. So what I've done here is, or this document outlines how to set SMART goals with your groups. Specific meaning, or S meaning specific. What specifically do you want to do? And have them write it down. If you want to start your own Etherpad, do you all know how to start your own Etherpad or Google Doc even? Okay, awesome. Meow, you're good on the Google Docs or Etherpad, creating your own? There you go.
Honestly, I know how to use Google Docs, but Etherpad, I haven't set up one before.
You haven't?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I haven't. Yeah.
I'm just going to paste the link to the chat really quick. Or actually, I'll paste it to the chat, but then I'll put it in the Etherpad. So you just go to pad.softwarecarpentry. Now, this is if you want to create one and use it within the Carpentries. It's pad.softwarecarpentry.org. And then there's a empty box, and you just name it whatever you want to name it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So set specific goals, have them write them down, and they should be measurable. So what will be the tangible evidence? It's not enough to say, I can't even think of an intangible goal because all my people are like, always. But it's very important to set tangible goals. What exactly do you want to do and by when? Make sure they're achievable. So if someone says, I want to create, an entirely new lesson, I don't think that will be achievable by August. It takes a lot to create brand new lessons. Identifying learning objectives, writing out all the material, the challenge questions, there's a lot. So make sure that they're help them to see how to create goals that are achievable, results focused, and then I already said time bound. So when exactly do you want to have this done? If you set SMART goals, I promise you, even if they don't reach the very final product, they will have some steps. They will have some mini targets completed, by that August deadline. Questions about SMART goals? Okie dokie. And on line 19, there is a resources link to the mentoring repo. So we are constantly trying to ask community members to add information to these folders. There's only a couple things in the folders right now, but resources for community building, lesson maintenance, organizing workshops, and then teaching workshops. So for example, in the teaching workshops, there are some cheat sheets in there. If you have resources that you'd like to add, please go ahead and add them. And this is actually a good page to tweet too. If you know a lot of Carpentries people, hey, we're looking for people to add resources to our mentoring repo. Please submit a pull request. Please, we need more resources. I know that people have this stuff, but they just don't know that we're asking for it. And then in this repo, if you click on mentoring session checklist, just a couple more ideas for that first meeting. Introductions, there's a link to some icebreakers. Everyone loves icebreakers. You could review the Carpentries communications channels. So if you don't have a list of all of them, they were in your instructor training, and I can also just easily copy and paste and send it to you so you don't have to go looking for it. But remember, all of our communications channel, our blogs, our Twitter, the Facebook, the Slack channel, the newsletters, the discuss list, you could review each of those channels with your mentees to make sure that they know where they are. You can obviously do your goal setting and discuss any challenges that you all foresee and set SMART goals. So those are just some ideas for your first meeting at minimum. Other ideas that we could add to this list? I know I'm not that smart. I didn't include everything. Okay, last but not least, on line 21, this is the Etherpad where you will find your mentees. Finally, right? I saved the best for last. So let's go to, and let me make sure. So some people asked to have a co-mentor. So if you see two mentors in your, like, actually, some people asked to have a co-mentor and some people said it doesn't matter either way. So I think both Danielle and Meow, you both have co-mentors. David, you do not have a co-mentor. So you will see your mentees listed here and their email addresses. One thing that I forgot to include is why they are joining the mentoring group. So I'm going to add that information as well. I have a spreadsheet with their application, and I'll share the whole spreadsheet. So I'll add that information as well. So here you'll see, let me see. So Meow has 5, Danielle has 4, and David has 4. So if it turns out that another person fills out the application at any time, I will go ahead and let you know, but I will not add more than 5 people to the mentoring group. And if you look on the bottom, you can see that there are still some open slots, particularly for the Australia group, the UTC +8 time zone, a couple of time zones. We are still searching for mentees. I know there are people who want help out there. So if you know some people who are interested, please have them fill out the application. Any questions about your mentoring groups, your mentees, anything like that? Yes, Meow.
I have a naive question. Maybe I didn't follow up previously. So this will be virtual mentor group, and we are going to communicate through like those video conference, like what we are doing now.
Yes. So there have been in the last round of mentoring, we actually did have 2 groups that were able to meet in person because they all happened to be in Germany. So it kind of worked out. But this time around, everybody was pretty much spread out. The people who applied were spread out everywhere. And so the groups are going to be virtual. So you can meet on Google Hangouts. If anyone wants to use my Zoom channel, so if you want to use Zoom, you can email me and let me know. And I can give you the times that I'm not using it. Or you can just let me know, hey, we want to have a meeting this time. Can we use your Zoom channel? And I can set up a meeting for you and you can use my channel. I love Zoom because you can split people into breakout groups in Zoom, and it's really cool. So just let me know. Yes, Meow.
Another question is like, so for each specific group, do they need to, like, they have their specific schedule, like how they achieve their each goal, what's the steps they arrange? Do they have a framework to follow, or do we need to design for our own?
Yeah, so that's something that you will help them through. So that's why we went over that SMART goals document. So that will be something you and your co-mentor. And so, P.S., for those of you who have a co-mentor, make sure you reach out to your co-mentor first and introduce yourself. But that'll be up to the mentors to help them set those specific goals and kind of help them through those deadlines and resources so that they can achieve their goals. And if at any time, so for example, if they have questions about resources, please email me. If you don't know, if there may be a resource and you may not know about it, email me and let me know, and I can be sure to find any resources that you may have or that they may need. other questions about your mentoring groups? All right. So you have everything that I have. I'm gonna forward the spreadsheet with your mentees' responses. Actually, would it be easier for me to just forward the spreadsheet or pull out the information and put it on the Etherpad? I could do whichever you think is easier.
Email would be awesome if you could.
Okay, perfect. So I'll email you the spreadsheet, and you only have 4 or 5 mentees, so it'll be easy to search for I already have filters, so you can just search for their names, and they had some open-ended responses about things that they want to accomplish during this time with you. If you find that you have mentees in your group that you think it may not be a good match, please let me know. That is not a problem at all. We can do some moving around of the groups. I can even bring in another co-mentor, things like that. So I want you to feel empowered, and I want you to feel like this is going to be a successful experience for both you and your mentees. So I'll send that over right now after this call. And other than that, you have all of the information, so you can feel free to contact your co-mentors if you have one, or go ahead and contact your mentees to set up that first meeting. And I'll be pinging you here and there to check on you, but feel free to email me anytime. Good? We did it in under 45 minutes. That was my goal. All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all for participating, and I will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.